The top 10 Premier League signings of the season. At 10, it's Mamadou Sakho. Before Sakho arrived in January, the Crystal Palace defence was about as much use as an inflatable dartboard. In the 3 games before he signed, the Eagles conceded 7 goals, 4 of them at home to Sunderland, one of the worst teams the Premier League has ever seen. Despite having not featured at Liverpool since falling out with Jurgen Klopp, the former PSG captain went straight into the side and led the team to 3 consecutive clean sheets, with his leadership and personality galvanising the club on and off the pitch. At 9, it's Idrissa Gueye. Most people regularly watching Aston Villa last season were blinded by tears of pain. Steve Walsh isn't most people, and the man who scouted N'Golo Kante for Leicester saw similar qualities in Gueye and wasted no time in persuading big Ronald Koeman to sign him for Everton. He's top of the charts for his tackles per game, near the top for interceptions, and can also play and pass his way out of trouble. At 8, it's Nathan Redmond. One of the few Norwich City players to emerge with any credit in their relegation season, Redmond has again progressed this year. He's put in several eye-catching performances when deployed as part of the front 3, has increased his goal tally, and finally made his full English debut after appearing for every age group from under 16. With over 250 games under his belt by the age of 23, his mix of pace, trickery and finishing make him an attractive proposition for the likes of Spurs and Liverpool. At 7, it's Leroy Sané. The son of 2 former athletes, Sané has continuously improved throughout the season and has at times been unplayable. He's so fast, so skillful and so brave that he's made fools of some of the league's best players. And although he has had his off days, this is only the 2nd season in which he's played more than 20 games. He's also had to play in front of Gael Clichy and Alexander Kolarov, which is something nobody should ever have to suffer. At 6, it's Fernando Llorente. He might have been criticised by Frank Lampard for not sprinting enough recently, and he's certainly not the same striker who terrified defenders in his heyday at Athletic Bilbao, but after a miserable season at Seville, he scored the goals that have kept Swansea in the Premier League. One of the finest headers of the ball we've seen on these shores, the timing of his runs allied with the accuracy of Gylfi Sigurdsson's dead balls have been 2 high points in a season that has featured 3 managers and some crushing home defeats. At 5, it's Victor Wanyama. From the moment he scored the winning goal on his debut against Crystal Palace to his commanding midfield performance against Manchester United in the final game at White Hart Lane, Wanyama has spent the whole season justifying Pochettino's year-long pursuit of a player he also bought for Southampton. Mobile, rock solid in the tackle and always in the right place, he cemented his place in the midfield and his partnership with Moussa Dembele is a joy to watch. At 4, it's Zlatan Ibrahimovic. After years spent being told he couldn't do it against English defences, Ibra strolled into Old Trafford with a point to prove and spent the next 8 months ramming the words of British journalists back down their throats. He clearly isn't the complete striker of old, but watching his on-pitch presence and a desire to score when the team has absolutely needed it has been worth the wait. We might not see him in the Premier League again, but we should all be glad that we got to. And as for the people who say he made United static, imagine where they'd be without his 28 goals. At 3, it's David Luiz. Having become a joke of a footballer after the 7-1 loss to Germany, and that time Luis Suarez nutmegged him twice in the same game, it was a surprise to see Luiz back in the Premier League. Fair play to him though. Even earlier in the season when Chelsea were playing 4 at the back, he looked a much improved player, but he's been a revelation as a libero in a back 3. Leaving Cahill and Azpilicueta to do the marking, his covering, last-ditch clearances, pinpoint passing and constant conjuling of his teammates have rightly seen him included in the team of the season. And he shut Gary Neville up, which is always nice. At 2, without Mane, Liverpool can often look a once-paced and pedestrian team and has suffered when he's been out with injury, or at the AFCON. With him, they look electric. His pace is obviously an asset, but his reading of situations, his ability to ghost past entire defences, and his calmness in front of goal have made him a bargain at 30 million. From the moment he tore Arsenal to shreds on the opening weekend of the season, it was clear that Mane was the archetypal Klopp player, and he rightly swept the board at the club's end-of-season awards. And at 1, it's Paul Pogba. Nah, only joking, it's N'Golo Kante. It couldn't really be anybody else, could it? Leicester have fallen like a stone without his non-stop presence in midfield, and you could hardly say that without his work rate and all-round ability, Chelsea wouldn't have won the league. Not only has he reinvented the role of the modern central midfielder with his dynamism, but he's also sent scouts from all of Europe's top clubs on a mission to go and find the next him. Somehow, we don't think they will. That was the top 10 Premier League signings of the season, brought to you by Copper 90. Like, share, subscribe, speak to your relevant guardian or loved one, and make sure that you're home before midnight, because that's when they're coming.